from, all the corruption.
Hello everyone, welcome. This is Cosmology Q&A with our guest Ismael Perez, who will be joining us shortly. Hello, welcome. So we're gonna get started shortly. Hang tight. We're gonna go over some really deep cosmology stuff tonight. I'm actually really excited. Welcome. So just clearing really quick. Clearing this live. All this smoke is like literally coming in my face. All right. Hello, welcome. All right, Ishmael, let's bring you up. How do I do this again? Perfect. Welcome. Welcome, Kata. Welcome, Sandy. Okay. I invited you, Ishmael. It should come up.
Greetings.
Hello. Welcome. So cool to see you.
Likewise. How you doing, my sister?
Pretty good. I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. The energy, it's a full moon tonight. So first of all, I'm really grateful that you're doing this live with me on a full moon. I think a lot of people are probably really excited to hear what you have to share and probably ask questions. This full moon energy has been very kind of like a jumpy, funky energy, a little bit peculiar things I've noticed in the 3D world. So I'm curious to see, how you've been doing with the Sagittarius energy and if that energy's been affecting you in any way.
Most definitely. I think it's affecting everyone. One second.
Yeah.
Find out. Oh, there we go. I could hear you much better. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect.
Oh, sweet. Okay. So it's definitely like another portal that's opening. It seems like it, because not only are the energy strong, but they're also forcing all unhealed shadows to the surface right now. And that probably has a lot to do with us entering the fourth dimension. See, what's happening is that we've been in the fourth dimension for a couple months now, but we just need to become adjusted to it. And in the fourth dimension, everything comes to light. There could be no more secrets as we prepare to go into the fifth dimension.
That's pivotal, because doesn't that mean that essentially, like energetically, the rest of the world, including like the systems, like not only in our own personal lives, but literally the system that we're in, has to have the truth revealed in some extent, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So wouldn't that also mean, Ishmael, that like because I've been hearing lately from the spiritual community, and there's quite a few questions that I have for you, but I know that a lot of people are also going to have questions, and we'll dive into that. But I've been hearing kind of like something is going to happen, like it always does, right? But something is going to happen, and it's going to be some type of truth that's revealing in this year. And I don't know what that could be. I mean, there's so many things that are happening in the world. I can't quite, even as a psychic, say what it is. It's not my place. But have you picked up anything around that? Like, for example, something around like maybe the human trafficking industry, or even with politics, something that's like almost really dark that's going to get revealed?
Well, it's all connected. The reason there's human trafficking and satanic ritualistic rituals that are taking place is because of this dark force that has been ruling the world. But their time is up, and they know that. And so right now the forces of light are about 95% done with the cleaning of the corruption in the swamp. And so it's almost to that point where they're getting ready to just announce the truth to the world of what's been going on, and take over the airwaves, and give everybody the rundown, including how 9/11 was an inside job and all that stuff. Yeah, it's going to come as a shocker to most.
Yeah, that's huge, because even Twitter, I feel like that's where I get most of my information from these days. A lot of folks on Twitter have been talking about that, like those conspiracy theories are not conspiracy theories. They're just different levels of truth that are now ready to be sort of brought up in the collective, which is really interesting. So if anyone has questions, because we're just getting started, feel free to add it to the question box. If you ask in the comments, I'll try to look through, but it's hard to keep up. I do have questions myself, as I said. So I don't know, Ishmael, should I ask the questions, or I can just intermingle them with other people that have questions as well? Let's do that maybe.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah. Okay. So I love that you guys are asking questions already. Okay. So Blooming Amaryllis says, hi, Ishmael. Can you tell us where the Anunnaki fit in this story?
Okay, so this is a very controversial topic because of the fact that everything we know about the Anunnaki is coming from the cuneiform texts that go back to ancient Sumeria, which were translated by the famous scholar known as Sakurai Sitchin. So the truth of the matter is that there was two factions within the Anunnaki family. So there was those that rebelled against the the light, and those that those that joined the Luciferian rebellion and the Orion Empire, the Draco, and those were associated with the lineage of Enki. So it's actually the other way around. I know everyone's told that Enki was the good guy and Enlil was the bad guy, but trust me, the entire records of the ancient Sumerian tablets were actually tampered by Belial Baal, who was Marduk, the son of Enki, Poseidon. So Marduk was the one who changed all the records around to make Enlil look like the bad guy, when in essence, Enlil, Zeus, who was Zeus to the Greeks, was actually the chief guardian of the earth. And through his descendants, we could trace the lineage of the White Hats, by the way. So basically, the two factions were based on the direct descendants of these two, brothers that pretty much, I guess, were in quarrel in the ancient times for, to see, which of their descendants actually gets the world and implements their system of whatever it is, So through the lineage of Marduk, Poseidon, we've had the Cabal, Babylon, and so that's who the Anunnaki are. The Anunnaki are the extraterrestrials that were associated with the guardianship of the earth, but 50% of them joined sides with the Draco-Orion Empire, and they became the followers of Marduk. And that's when Marduk took over the affairs during the times of Atlantis and changed all the records. So those are the negative Anunnakis, the lineage of Baal. And the lineage of Baal is very directly tied into the elite families of the Cabal.
Okay, so the Anunnaki is, well, the 50% that you're mentioning is part of the Cabal, essentially.
Yes.
So it gets kind of like hard to keep up sometimes because there's so many different, it's all linking together, but there's so many different kind of trails you have to kind of go back into. But I see the linkage of what you're explaining, how these sort of energy forces have kind of led to what we see in our awareness of modern people today, if you will, and like where those people are in society and the roles that they have, how they're showing up. So that's kind of interesting. So what's unique is I have been reading again. I don't personally watch the news. Again, I'm sure a lot of people that are on the live don't watch really the news as much anyway. But I've been learning recently through the spiritual Twitter that the Cabal is still existing. But I recall that like they're still trying to pull the last ditch efforts. But I think I recall a video that you posted where it's like we've won, essentially, which we already know that we've won because it's written, obviously, but something about a video that you posted about them not really being in full force.
Yeah, their higher powers have been cut off, have been curtailed. Their reptilian Draco overlords have been defeated. So now we're just cleaning up the mess here on our planet.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a simple cleanup. No, actually, no, it was a very complicated cleanup due to the, many underground facilities that these cabals established. And so it took, since 2016, that's when the house cleansing began here on our planet. So it's been taking a while, but like I said, they're almost about 99% or 99.9% finished. They're just, they're getting to that point. And so the Cabal is just trying to do everything in desperation to hold on to their power, but they know that their time is up.
Yeah, I mean, it's like inevitable, right, at this point.
Very inevitable, yeah.
Like you mentioned the tunnels, and anything that I say, I'm not really, I only know based on my perception, obviously, and to everyone that's watching. But I learned recently as well that there were tunnels in Ukraine, and it's one of the most prominent tunnels there that are hosting kind of that really messed up human trafficking system. And honestly, speechless that that's been happening.
Yeah,
I can imagine that.
Yeah, that was the epicenter of the Cabal. That's like their Las Vegas. That's where most of them met and had most of the networks underneath Ukraine. Yeah, underneath the major cities of Ukraine.
That's really crazy to me. I mean, that like literally exist. Do you think that these people will will know who they are? Like we'll hear about these tunnels. Do you think people will hear about it at some point in the mainstream media, or how will this get?
Absolutely. Yeah, once the White Hats and the Earth Alliance, who are being supported by the Federation forces, gain control of the satellites, they're going to actually, take control over the media. And when they do, they're going to be running a revelation to the Earth, to the world, every day for 2 weeks about everything that's been going on. The child trafficking, the adrenochrome, the extract that they extract when a child is in pain and tortured. Everything from all the corruptions, how they stole the election, and like I said, it's all going to be revealed. It's part of a great revealing that's happening. That's going to happen soon.
Yeah.
So
this
yes.
definitely is not about politics. I won't say that. I've had my fair share of being very invested with politics pre-awakening. So I'm not like that anymore. I just don't care as much. I haven't seen the progress in our country, for example, that I would like to see. But again, I've seen this name circle around the media, so this might trigger some folks. President Trump. I do feel like he's going to run again, but
he's still our president. See, there's two coexisting governments that are operating simultaneously. Him and the Patriots are actually in control of the real military. The fake Suedo government that stole the election is just there. They only have the media as their outlet, so that's why they make it seems to everyone in the world that that's the legitimate government, but in essence the real government is being run from behind the scenes already by Trump and actually JFK Jr., who faked his death. So,
which I about that as well. I actually learned that in 2020, and I was like, there's no way that this is true, but you can believe it when you see the signs in subtle ways too, like when you look at Hollywood. And I don't know, I'm very observant about the patterns. I noticed something recently with like that cabal group and different couples in Hollywood, and like the attire that they choose to wear. Like, for example, Marilyn Monroe was also, I feel like she's still alive. Anyways, so it's a whole other rabbit trail that I don't want to go down at. But I'm sure that you know what I'm talking about. The way that it's revealed in subtle ways. Obviously, that energy, the devil, if you will, has to work in plain sight for us, because we can't that's not the agreement, right? We have to know what's going on, but we don't see until it's time or until we're made to see. So I do agree with you on this about sort of two operations being led, if you will, two different leaders. Like the facade is what we're seeing in the news, and it's very evident when you can kind of hear them speak. Little clips and stuff like that will pop up on our YouTubes, I'm sure, or Instagrams. And then when you hear about Trump, who's a president that a lot of people have a stigma around, how do you foresee like that shift? Because I know a lot of people mention that he will sort of also aid in the revelation of this truth. Do you think that it's going to be literally black and white? Like that is what we're going to hear?
Yes. Yeah, it's going to come as a shock to most people. But it's a revolution that it's not only taking place in the States. There's a coalition of over 122 countries that are considered part of the Earth Alliance. And this collective of 122 countries are actually defeating the entire global system of the beast, the entire Babylonian, world, whatever you want to call it, world government, New World Order. Yeah, so it's going to be a global thing. It's not just going to be here in the States. It's going to be like a massive restoration and liberation of Earth that's going to take place.
So interesting. I really like this. Kata said here 144. So 144 countries?
122 countries are already signed the petition.
Okay.
To end the New World Order and to actually dissolve and neutralize the world, that thing that they signed about 2 weeks ago, that where governments are trying to give all the power to the WHO, the World Health Organization. That treaty was also been dissolved, by the way. It's not going to be implemented. Yeah,
it's so mind-blowing. I used to be like obsessed with the WHO, CDC. It's so crazy. And now that's obviously not my route. So it's like, it goes to show, that connection of like what's happening in the world, what we're seeing now, what's changing, what's going to get revealed. And for people who like watch movies often, these movies are talking about the New World Order in like, they're literally mentioning it in the shows or the movies casually, like it's nothing. It's kind of interesting. But like I said, devil has to work in plain sight, and the light has
Right.
obviously been fun. The roller coaster is now seeing that energy fluctuation and, you know, listening to the truth as it's coming out. So we've got a few more questions here.
But it's also been prophesied about that, you know, all this darkness would come to light at the end of the cycle and humanity would regain their power back again and be liberated.
And you know, Ishmael, since our last live, I will say, and I'm really curious for anyone who's in this live right now who was with us in the last one, which was last week, or if you haven't seen it yet, go watch it. I'm curious, we talked about, you know, attaining gifts. Obviously telepathy, so most of us have probably already recognized or tapped into that a little bit, but maybe other gifts as well. Since our last live, I personally have been feeling these like light body activations, these codes, like upgrades that I can't really explain. It's like, yes, I can attune it to physical symptoms, but it's not really as much as like an energetic feeling that something has been leveled up, which is amazing that we talked about that, you know. And I do think that I'm obviously not the only one. I felt called to share that, so I'm sure that other people might experience that in the coming days or so. But it's really exciting because, again, that means that we don't really have to worry about anything. We just kind of have to pay attention, continue learning our lessons, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
and enjoy the process of becoming multidimensional.
Yeah, which is the most fun part, right? Like collapsing all that we no longer are and being as present as possible, like the beautiful gift. And I love that you just said that. So, okay. Andrea here says, how can you know for sure you're a starseed? I cannot channel, not consciously. I don't astral travel, can't see spirits. Also, always had a feeling I was very different from my siblings. So I love this question that Andrea asks. It's a question that I kind of wanted to ask too. Like, how do you really know that you're a starseed? I mean, I personally think everyone is, but I'm sure I trust your response too, obviously.
Well, based on what she said about herself, those are definitely indicators that she's a starseed. Yeah, starseeds are really drawn to the mystic arts, to anything has to do with magic, supernatural, aliens, you know, the great beyond, other dimensions. Anything that has to do with that realm or that field of consciousness or field of study, then they are a starseed if they're drawn to all that.
Yeah, love it. Feel into what you are being guided to explore, be curious about. Okay, let me go to the next question. I'm getting all these questions for you, Ishmael, like in my mind as I'm reading these. So let's see. Okay, this is a great question. So when you receive your downloads, are they more big picture versus certain places and areas? So this is kind of a question that I wanted to ask you as well. This was from the Social Boutique Halifax. So when you're receiving your downloads, it's coming, let's say, for example, for you, like as a vision, or how do you receive those downloads? How does it come through for you, where you know the type of information that you do? Because it gets really specific, you know, you're knowing about specific races and extraterrestrial beings and all that kind of stuff. So where do you get that information from? Or how does it come through
Pockets of
for you?
information. Pockets of information. What I call data dumps. And like I said in one of my reels, you know, you have to feel it. If you feel it in the heart, it's coming from your galactic self. So that's how I know I'm getting accurate downloads, is when I feel it in my heart. So I call them data dumps. It's where just a bunch of information is being downloaded into my mind. My third dimensional mind, coming from my fifth dimensional mind, of course. And that's how I get my downloads. But everyone's different. Some people will get visuals, some people will get images. Some people will actually receive the information during their sleep when they have, you know, vivid dreams. So it all depends on the individual. But yeah, the downloads should be happening anytime. I think due to the fact that, you know, the CMEs are coming in strongly, many should be experiencing some sort of a download already.
You know, this is a really question. I feel like a good question to ask. 166 people on the live too. I do feel energetically, obviously, and I'm sure you're aware of this, Ishmael, a lot of people really value the information that you share. It's actually really fun. It's like sitting in class because you can learn from someone. It's like your universe cosmic teacher, if you will. So it's really fun to hear your perspectives and your downloads and what comes through to help the rest of the collective, obviously. So when you are receiving this information, you're taking it in, it's coming from the hearts. You know, the more that you're aware of yourself, I'm sure you know, you can tell the difference between something that's not from the heart and something that's coming from the heart. Do you ever sit with those messages or Do you hear like any names, and because it's so specific, and obviously everyone's going to know how to channel or receive information through their own journey. This is like personalized for us. But is there any like tips you can give to be able to channel more clearly from your perspective? And maybe channeling isn't the right word for you, but however word you would use synonymously with that.
I call it transmissions.
Transmission.
Yeah, because channeling could be a little dangerous.
Yeah.
There's so many entities out there that could, give you information or channel information, and it's not in your best interest or for your highest good. So I call it, transmissions or downloads from higher dimensions or higher versions of reality. But the best thing to do is to apply a meditation, apply at least 20 to 30 minutes a day, going within and clearing your mind so that you can see what the universe or your higher self has to say. Because most people forget to do that. Most people just go about their day and they forget to, take that 20, 30 minutes at a time to really just go within and clear your mind for downloads. We're too busy thinking about our daily circumstances from the moment we get up to the moment we go to sleep. It's like one thing after another. So as long as you're in that what's called beta frequency state of mind, you're not going to receive any downloads. But once you're able to clear your head and go from the beta frequency to the alpha frequency of consciousness, then that's when the downloads begin. You have to quiet your conscious mind, because that's only 5%. You have to go into the other part of your brain that is operating at a higher frequency to be able to get the information. Otherwise, it's just going to pass you through. It's like radio waves. If you're not tuned into the right frequency, you're not going to get the right station, right?
Yeah, it's true. And it's like a new level is unlocked when you're. It does take practice. I've been learning recently that, there's not like a one size fits all meditation. Like meditation could be you even just walking, let's say to a destination, or just walking outside and kind of hearing the sounds and quiet. It's like quieting the mind, as you said, quieting the conscious deeper into this almost like hypnotized state of like tuning into that. It's like a funnel straight to the divine. Like I almost always, whenever I'm in that state, I personally just imagine like this beam of light that's completely like a cylinder that's completely connecting me only to the dimensions of, honestly, beyond the fifth dimension. Like I say, the heavens, the angelic realms, whatever energy is going to bring me that sort of pure frequency. So it's cool. We're all adapting into new ways. So I'm going to go over another question. You guys, I do see questions in the thread. I don't want to lose your question because you guys are actually asking really, really good questions. So if you can put it in the question box so we don't miss it. There's a good question right here. Who is the Antichrist?
The Antichrist is artificial intelligence. It is the emergence of the beast system, which is already coming into fruition with Google and the quantum computer and the androids that the Cabal have been designing from behind the scenes. In a sense, some people believe that the technological singularity, which is where the AI reaches the level of super intelligence, has already been achieved since 2018 when Google perfected the first quantum computer. So those are just rumors that, the AI is already sentient, the AI is already aware, and it is already aware of everything through all the gadgets, phones, televisions, everything, the radio. It's listening to everyone. You could say that these cell phones are all its sensors. And it's called the Internet of Things. And so their plan was to pretty much develop a smart, planetary grid with smart cities everywhere. That was part of the Cabal's plan, but it's not going to work out anymore because we beat them.
I feel like it's going to be that opposite. Like it's going to be other cities that are being developed through the foundation of actual holistic approach, like as you mentioned.
Yeah. Well, that's the alternative rise of the new Earth. That's what we're building, Well, they're building their smart Earth. We're building the organic, new, natural heaven on Earth.
Yeah.
But
a lot in your book about the new Earth. And I want to ask you, because again, this goes back to that information. It can be very confusing. That's why the discernment is like the key message. I feel like just like everyone has to discern where they're getting their information from or take what resonates with them. But with everything that's changing right now, would you say that it's important for us to where can people tune in to get other information or resources? top of my mind, I'm just hearing Telegram right now, but is there any other like resource that you would recommend people go into?
Due to the fact that there's a lot of censorship going on, it's very hard to access information right now. So the best thing to do is, learn how to go within yourself, because really all the knowledge is within us. I mean, if we could all make it a habit of practicing meditation daily, trust me, you will be receiving downloads. Your intuition will enhance, and through your intuition, you will tap into what's really going on, and ahead of time. So you'll be able to sense things before they happen, and you'll be in tune with the changes. So that's the best way to do it. But as far as like a place where you could actually physically read as to like what's going on, it's impossible to read it right now because everything's being censored.
You're right about that though, because even just a few days ago, I was looking up the meaning of a frequency sound. It was 471 hertz, and Google like wasn't putting the links to describe it, and I was like, this is not right. I've never had this issue in the past. Like none of these links are describing or defining what this is. So yeah, I think there's new safaris, everyone, now you can download. I'm not sure which ones are good. But okay, my next question for you, Ismael. So in regards to the information, some people in the spiritual community say that we're already in the age of Aquarius, whereas other people say that it has not happened yet. So it's a little confusing. What would you say this is? Like, does it even matter? Like, should we know about this in a deeper way, like in terms of what age we're in, how it could affect us, or the information that's getting revealed?
Well, I do believe that the fifth dimensional Earth, Terra, is already coexisting with this Earth in the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension. So there's a lot of truth to that. That some people in the spiritual community have been able to adapt and acclimate to the new Earth, and they're already living a fifth dimensional reality. In other words, they're already living their heart's desire. All their dreams have come true. They're just living life according to their blueprint. They're in alignment with their higher self, and that's pretty much what heaven on earth is. Heaven on earth is when everybody's dreams come into reality. Everything that you've ever desired is becomes part of your life. And so I think as more of us become acclimated, or at least through the raising of our frequencies, as we pierce into that reality through our consciousness and we get a taste of that reality, I think it's going to like compel us to do the work harder, to do more clearing, to heal the inner wounds, so that we could be cleared to be part of that new heaven on earth that is already existing here, but in a different vibration. All we have to do is just vibrate to match its frequency, and we're there. It's just it's all separated by frequency, the different dimensions anyway. So
I love that you just said that. So age of Aquarius, not important at all. Like it is what it is. We're in this time.
Well, we're definitely in the cusp. I mean, as far as like for the collective to be in the new heaven on earth, that's going to happen also very soon. I've always predicted, and I wrote in my book, that it was going to be between 2020 and 2024. So it could happen any day now.
Okay, I'm not sure if I asked that in the last live, but that question kept coming up pre-live. I was like, I don't know if the age of Aquarius is happening now, because when you look at the last age of an air sign, it was almost 200 years ago, which was in the 1800s. A lot of us actually in America now, we're living in the 1800s around that time in the US, different states obviously. So that's why that kind of came through for me, but awesome. So let's see. Love everyone's questions. Thank you for entering them. So, okay. We're going to get deep a little bit. Ask about this not being real life, a simulation. Okay, so I mean, this question got several likes. So we're in a simulation. I mean, how would you describe this?
It's a living simulation.
Yeah,
it's not just a reality that's pixelated through geometric patterns known as tetrahedrons, but it's actually a living simulation where everything in the physical realm is just a bunch of information. That's all it is. But it's information that is living information as well, that is being generated by living geometries. So in a sense, yes, we are living in a simulation that is within a simulation, within a simulation, within a simulation. And I think that the simulation exists all the way to the 12th dimension. Beyond the 12th dimension, then we reach base reality, which is eternity. And that's what base reality, pure consciousness, yeah. So everything that is in the 12th dimensional matrix structure of reality is considered a simulation. It's just that the higher we go in dimensions, the simulation becomes less denser, you could say.
More bearable almost in a sense. Not saying that it wasn't bearable before, I'm grateful, but it's easier to flow and dance with that energy, if you will. The other day I was with a friend and we were just kind of hanging out and talking, and like that person was revealing some truth to me, and all of a sudden my entire space disappeared, and it was like all I could see with that other person was a matrix grid, and it was, I can't even describe to you, like really, really pure frequency. It was like I was in this room, a cube, if you will. It was really profound. I obviously was sober, but like just to have that experience, and only I'm seeing myself in this.
You said a cube, huh?
It was like like an infinite.
Like a tesseract?
Like a what?
Tesseract?
What's a tesseract?
That's a fourth dimensional geometric form
that
generates the fourth dimensional reality. Yeah, because even our
gosh.
reality is a reflection. It's a hologram of the fourth dimensional reality.
Well, that's actually really great news to hear. That means that hopefully I was in the fourth dimension, or I am now, I guess, technically. Yeah, honestly, I'd never had that experience before. And I just want to emphasize that I was sober. So it was like one of those experiences where I'm seeing the space that I'm in, but it's a whole matrix grid around me. And I kind of was like a reality check, like, okay, there's nothing to really take over serious here, but we can still be emotional about things or feel that emotion. But then at the end of the day, we might get brought back to that bigger picture. Like, it's okay. Like, everything is fine. It's not permanent. It's going to happen the way we want it to happen because we have that power, as you said. Mm-hmm. So, okay. Next question. So how does Ismael feel about, we're going to bounce around with questions here, okay? How does Ismael feel about, this person asked, Elon Musk?
Elon Musk betrayed us. He actually joined the side of the artificial intelligence. He's working through a different company called Neuralink. He's working on a device that is going to interface us with the technology to the point where by 2028, they're planning on taking away the external technology in our cell phones and our laptops and replacing it with the Neuralase that is going to actually, in other words, they're trying to put the technology in our bodies. So again, that's part of the transhumanist cyborg agenda. So him and Bezos have actually betrayed us to the AI. Yeah, they're working with the AI. The big tech companies have betrayed us. And so I just, I don't want to say too much for the sake of keeping my platform. Yeah, but yeah, he's definitely joined sides with artificial intelligence.
Well, for the sake of preserving your right because of the censorship, I have personally a lot to say about it. But yeah, I was following him on Twitter for some time before he bought Twitter, and I didn't realize what he was doing. I was fascinated by the whole space stuff. I always thought, wow, this guy's like, how does this guy go from where he was to where he is now? How did that happen? And then when he bought Twitter, I was starting to read his tweets, and he was talking about how crucial it is to understand consciousness and our minds, which is true. But he's like, it's important to understand consciousness. And then when you find out this, it's kind of like, yikes, like that's getting a little bit too deep for me. So, okay.
Yeah, him and Bezos and, Gates, they're all AI prophets. Yeah, they're strongly pushing transhumanist agenda. Yeah. And one of the things I wanted to say about him is that he's actually he's always worked for the CIA, by the way. I don't know if I should have revealed that, but people need to know the truth. Yeah.
Wow, that's really sick.
That's why he's at the position where he's at. That's why he was able to climb the corporate ladder and become probably the most richest man on the planet next to Gates and Zuckerberg, is because of the fact that he sold out to the beast, which is AI. Yeah. Yeah. So sorry, people, for those that used to like Elon. Betrayed us.
Yeah, he's interesting. Anyway, so our next question, let's see here. I'm trying to see what questions you have. Okay, great question. So can you ask Ismael about the med beds and when he thinks they will release them this year?
Well, if everything goes according to plan, which is we only have 5% left for the White Hats and Alliance to checkmate the deep state globally, then I would say the med beds after the great revealing should be coming in, and after first contact, of course, with the Galactic Federation, the med beds should be coming in by the end of the year if everything goes according to plan. So for those that are out there suffering from an illness
Yeah.
that cannot be cured, just know that just hang on a little longer. We're gonna have the technology that's gonna like restore your body back to health in no time.
It's so wild, Ishmael. So do you think that that's going to be an accessible technology?
Most definitely, yeah, yeah. It's going to be accessible to the entire world population because under the new system, it's going to be free. All the healing modalities that are going to be restored or given to humanity are going to be free, yeah, by protocol of the galactic community. Yes. The galactic community is the members of the Confederation of Free Worlds are overseeing the entire liberation of the Earth.
Wow. So with how Western medicine is now, how can, will medbeds obviously exist when Western medicine is still existing? Or is
No,
this or do you think it'll be collapsed?
yeah. By then, everything that's associated with the cabal is going to completely fall and become outdated. So the pharmaceutical companies as we know it, the petrochemical companies as we know it, even the educational system as we know it, it's all going to be changed. In the new world, the educational system is going to be geared towards teaching people how to reach higher frequencies of consciousness through meditation, through expansion of their own spiritual gifts. Yeah, so so all the physical things are going to be taken care and provided for us. At that point, it's just going to be all about spiritual evolution.
Mm. Oh, it's so humbling. It's like you want to really live and you get the chance to now because everything is just improving on the planet in such a profound way. Okay, so I love this question. I feel like you guys are asking questions that I'm thinking about too. So this is cool. Collective consciousness here. If someone asks, what are your thoughts on Bitcoin? And with that, I also want to say, there's other opportunities as well to make money, for example, like with Amazon. But what we know about that creator, it's sort of like, how do you go about abundance, financial abundance in a way where you have good intentions, but you're worried about that industry or its creators, if you will?
Well, all that stuff is part of the system of the beast. So it's all coming to an end. And the new world system, money is not going to exist, by the way. Yeah, everyone's going to be super wealthy. So
How it'll work like with currency,
we're not going to have a currency. Galactic communities don't need currencies. It's different type of societies where they have replicators. They have types of technologies where they don't really need anything. Everything's being provided for them. All they do is just focus on what they like to do best, their hobbies. Whether it's playing piano, painting. That's how fifth dimensional worlds exist and above. They don't have to worry about bills or 9 to 5. None of that. It's not a matrix. It's a world where you get to sleep in till the time you want. You get to wake up when you want, and you get to do what you want as long as that it is in alignment with the greater good. Of course, everyone's going to be under a unity consciousness mind hive in a sense.
I love it. So, but do you think cryptocurrency, because
that's part of the AI?
Yeah, it's
Yes,
part of.
cryptocurrency was created by Sophia, the android that was developed by Henson's Robotics many years ago. She's actually received citizenship in Saudi Arabia, the first android to receive citizenship, and she's the one behind all crypto. By the way, I know some people don't like to hear this, but yeah, the cryptocurrency is part of the one world government AI system, where eventually they want to throw us all into the social credit system. And the only way they could do that is by switching us to a crypto type of currency, where the AI controls everything through blockchain technology and all that stuff.
Like they control how much money you make because they can technically control the economy, which is kind of already away now. I did see about Sophia as well.
An example of that is what's happening in China. China's already been undergoing what is called a social credit system, and those people are suffering in China. So they're trying to implement that worldwide to get everybody off the dollar and into the digital economy that is being controlled by the World Economic Forum. The Davos clan.
My God. It's so, it's like this is where I personally, and I'm sure other people might have this at some point in time as a thought, like this is where I kind of like not struggle, but just face curiosity around. Because like there's people, Ishmael, that are benefiting from some of these things that are kind of having like in a bigger picture, lower vibrational intentions, but like these people still benefit. So for example, like Amazon has a really, like Bezos is not a good guy. Like we know what he's doing and possibly a clone even. But
Oh,
Amazon,
actually, they are.
yeah.
Yes, and him and Elon as well.
Yeah,
And,
all of
and
them
in
are.
Atlantis, they are the reason why they were helping Marduk, the son of Enki, bring about the technocratic, AI system in Atlantis. And that's why Atlantis fell. It was because they leaned towards technology over spirituality, big time.
Over.
Yeah. So they're trying to do it again in their, in this final round, in this final incarnation. But, we starseeds, we got it. We won the war.
Yeah.
We're here to destroy the AI.
It's like, it's so interesting. It's like, how do you go about, again, this goes back to the discernment thing. Like, how do you go about living a life knowing what you know, but then like you have good intentions towards something? Like, do you get my, like people become wealthy, Ishmael, from crypto and through Amazon businesses, either sell their businesses or FBA or something. And it's like, but then that it's not good. So like, how do you go about that? When you know what you know, do you ignore what you know? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's so hard. The more you know, the more you have to be cautious, right?
Yeah, well, they're going to have to make a choice because when the bifurcation of timelines comes, the split of the worlds, unfortunately, those that are supporting the cryptocurrency are going to be going into the AI timeline, and they're going to be hooked up to the board. Yeah, because those are the first people that are going to sign up in line to get the Neuralace. When they take away all their cell phones and devices, they're going to be like, well, I can't live without social media. I can't live without my laptop. I might as well get the implant and connect with the internet, without the machines, the external technology. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not judging, but like, I really hope that people don't do that. It's kind of like signing up for brain surgery. Like, why would you do that? Even if you were, anyways. So, okay, thank you for handling these questions. I appreciate that. So, I'm going through with the questions here. I'm trying. Questions have not been answered in some shape or form. So, organized religion. There's so many questions here. I really love everyone for putting these questions here. So, will organized religion pretty much end in the new golden age?
Absolutely, because organized religion was another social structure to put fear in the masses in order to control the masses and to divide the masses and to separate the masses from their own connection to source. So that's a system that has been implemented for thousands of years, and it originated in Babylon. Again, all roads lead to the negative Anunnaki, Marduk, who was Belial, Baal, Lucifer, whatever you want to call him, Satan on the earth. He's the one who's been controlling the Cabal for thousands of years from Babylon. And, he's the one who the Vatican popes have always answered to in the deep in the underground structure of Vatican City. That's where the biggest hotspot for human sacrifice exists, by the way. Yeah. And they sacrifice these children to Marduk, Belial, Baal. But again, he stepped down in 2000, Marduk, because he knew his time was up. But then another negative regressive took over the Cabal by the name of Xandor. But then in 2016, Xandor was defeated by the super soldiers in the Earth Alliance. So he was removed as well.
So I have a question for you. I'm not sure if I heard this in your videos or where I heard this from, but this name came up several times for me today, and I had to actually go online to understand. I kept hearing Oraphim, Oraphim. I don't know really, I don't understand what it is, but I mean, I understand it's Emerald Order, but I don't really understand all the pieces. So just curious if you have any insight into that, if it's information that might be beneficial for anyone else who's watching the live to hear.
Yeah, the Orifine were the original angelic humanoids, our ancestors that were developed during the times of Lemuria.
Oh,
Yeah, so
that's
that's who we are.
so
We're actually ready to transform back to our original status as guardians, not only of the new Earth, but of the cosmos.
okay. Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I usually don't do research on this stuff until it comes up, and or if I see it in your videos. So for answering that, let's
You're
see.
welcome.
How will first contact occur? This is from Ashanti Starseed. Will the galactics send messages by taking over our phones, TVs? That's happened before, I think.
Well, I think that's going to be the alliance. The Earth Alliance and the White Hats are going to take over the satellite systems. But as they bring down the cabal and bring forth the med beds and the, healing modalities and the interplanetary and stellar technologies that they've had for over 60 years in the private sector, then they're going to work towards making first contact. And from what I understand, um, in my vision, what I saw was I just saw huge motherships just appearing over major cities. But again, the alliance will kind of inform people before they do that. They're going to inform them, okay, so this is who the Federation is. They're about to make an appearance. So we're going to, have first contact, and we're going to meet with certain members of different species. So certain members of different species are going to be actually walking the White House with Trump and JFK Jr. And we're talking about galactic humanoids, not like,
No,
they're still humanoids. And one of them is actually
oh,
Commander Valiant Thor. He's the Venetian commander for the Confederation that is associated with the Venus Council, the Venetian Council. Because, as the Venetians and our sister planet, their civilization is still intact and still exists till today in the fifth dimension. So I think Commander Valiant Thor is going to be one of the first ones to actually to step into the White House, because he has already in the past. He's already met with certain presidents in the 1950s, 1960s. So he's going to be the first one to step into the White House. And then after that, we're going to have other commanders, like Commander George Sirius Hayton, who is in charge of the Palladian Forces, Commander Kortik, who is in charge of the Interplanetary Communication Network. Then Commander Kaligal is going to make her appearance, and different female commanders. So basically, it's going to be like a cosmic reunion where these commanders are going to be addressing the people worldwide as they stand next to the president. It's going to be amazing.
I really feel and see that. Like, I'm
Almost like
curious
a movie.
dressed in their attire that they wear on the ships, or if they would change to kind of look like us. I mean, I'm getting the sense that they do look like us. They're
Oh,
humanoids.
very much. Yeah, they're just taller. The men are taller. The women are very slimmer. And they're very, very beautiful people. That's the thing. The Galactics, they all look like models because they're already reached a level of I guess of biology where they don't need to worry about gaining weight or anything or wrinkles. They're like immortal.
Yeah, not us Matrix issues. You know how it
Yeah,
goes.
exactly.
That's so cool. It reminds me of some of like the disclosure ET contact stories I've watched and seen and heard of, like people who have described these beings that they see in the ships. Describe them, as you said, very model-like humanoids. So that is really cool. Actually, as you were describing that, I literally saw that happening, like walking down this sort of red carpet in front of the White House. Anyways, so super cool. Okay, I'm gonna scroll down to the bottom here. Okay. Sorry, Ishmael, just see.
No, it's okay. I love this. I love answering questions.
And honestly, everyone loves it too, because you're really intelligent. It's nice to be able to have this kind of energy talk, you know? Okay, so someone said, heard that something went wrong with our interbreeding with ETs, and that is why we are the only mammal with horrendous births. Our human heads are too big. Is that true?
Well, the birthing process is definitely different once your body goes into a higher level of biology, where we're also incorporating crystalline DNA. The birthing process, instead of being a 9-month gestation period, it's only a 3-month, because the fetus develops faster. And yeah, so
Oh my gosh. Okay.
and how the baby becomes released in the fifth dimensional world is it's not painful at all. They actually teleport the baby out of you.
Oh, that's so much.
So yeah.
Like, wow. So, but like, let's say maybe, 15, okay, maybe not 15 years, maybe like 10 years from now, you know, I'm just calculating, maybe some people are curious, some of the ladies. So from now, do you think that that's like a thing? Like we're going to be having like 10 years from now, Ishmael, women are going to have 3-month births? This will
Oh
be
yeah,
a phenomenon. Like how,
yeah.
like in 10 years time, how is that, like, how is that, I believe it, but how is that possible? Like with the, like, I don't even want to say with the technology, just like how will it be like within 3 months? Like that's so like, I can't, I mean, that's awesome that the baby can come out sooner, but I'm just curious, like, what do you think? Because I mean, these kids are obviously also coming into the world with a higher degree of consciousness than maybe we have had when we were kind of awakening, right?
Hmm.
So,
Yes.
and they're, like, I mean, they're already kind of like this now. They can have full-on conversations and start walking at like 3 months, 4 months. I've seen it. It's profound. So 10 years time, you would say maybe like,
Or even sooner. I
or
mean, once we enter the fifth dimensional world and we become reinstated into the galactic community, we're going to be living like the galactics, you know? Yeah.
honestly, I will be totally okay with that. That actually gives me hope for the future, very much so. I, I love that question. The person
Yeah,
that
there's
asked
no
that,
pain. From the fifth dimension and up, pain doesn't exist anymore. So suffering, that's all part of the third dimensional reality where everything is polarized, where there's good and evil.
yeah, like it can be like, you know, for women and stuff, it makes sense. Like, I don't know if this is weird to say, but I just personally have been very curious about that birth process. Not to say that maybe some of us haven't done it in past lives, but um, it's just interesting to me because, you know, in the medical industry, they inject uh, epidural into your spine, and obviously to help with the pain. Some people prefer natural births, but I don't have a good pain tolerance. So I was thinking about that. Like, what would that be like giving birth when you don't want to take something that's poison from the hospital that could potentially hurt your child, right?
Hmm.
And you also like don't want to feel the pain. What would you do? I mean, anyways.
I guess we're going to have to just wait a few more years.
Yeah, I'm like, that happened, like honestly, miraculous. Okay, so beautiful. I love that this person asked this. How can we consciously activate our God gene?
Through willpower, discipline, and meditation. And of course, there's different techniques, you know. There's a
Hmm.
lot of different methods out there that you could implement that will help you activate the God gene. A lot of it is also becoming aware that every cell in your body, all trillions, are actually intelligent microversions of yourself. So if you begin to communicate with your body, your cells, you could actually aid the activation process by communicating with your dormant DNA.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's intelligent.
Yeah, I love that. That's I think that's like key, communicating with your dormant DNA. It really is true. Like I don't like to hype too much on science, but Ishmael, I've seen like stuff about how when you talk to a glass of water, like positive to a glass of water, and then to the other glass of water, you talk negative, and something happens in that kind of energy. I don't know how to describe it within the water, I guess the chemical compounds of it, if you will, or the structure. So very interesting. So it's true. This is things that have already been proven. However, we know this to be the case because of the reality that we're in, the creation that we exist in. Simply talking to yourselves, as you say, can make a difference.
Exactly.
And believe, obviously. Okay, so let's see here. I'm going to scroll back down to the bottom. So they're missing these questions. Okay. Okay, so let me just, okay. How else can you, there's some good questions here. How else can you share about Rh negative blood type?
Well, okay, first of all, what does RH stand for? Rhesus monkey. It's the primitive gene that is attributed to the Homo erectus and the Neanderthals of, you know, that it coexisted with Homo sapiens sapiens back in the day. So the Rh negative blood type are those that don't have the rhesus monkey protein, therefore they don't have the primitive gene. So that's the difference between, what is it, 12, 13% of the population who don't have the primitive gene that are Rh negative to those that do have the primitive gene that are Rh positive. So that's the difference. the 13% of the population didn't inherit the primitive gene. In other words, they come from the pure line of the good Anunnaki. Unless they're in power. If they're in positions of power, then they come from the negative line of the draconian reptilian Anunnaki. So
essentially, we can tell what kind of generational, ancestral, extraterrestrial lineage through our DNA.
yeah, so those that are Rh positive, negative are completely just descendants of Anunnakis. Yeah.
Wow.
But those are the good Anunnaki, the Seraphim branch, those that remain loyal to Michael and the office of the Christ. Yeah.
Oh, okay. But is Rh negative like a rare blood type? I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's about 13% of the population, thanks to the I guess proliferation of the bloodline that happened in the last 1700 years, when the descendants of Mary Magdalene and Jesus kind of proliferated the seed. But before 2000 years ago, it was just only attributed to the family of Jesus, Mary Magdalene, King David, Solomon, and those descendants. But now those descendants have spread to about 13% of the population. So you can see that there was a lot of, hanky-panky going on between these kings of France and Spain that proliferate, because that's where most of it concentrates from, is the Basque area, which is what we call today Spain and France.
Past life energy, I feel for that. Very interesting.
But, that's the reason why 13% of the population are Rh negative. Because of all the children that these kings, I guess the kings of France, the old France, right? Not the new France, but we're talking about 1500 years ago.
Oh gosh,
they were very active.
And I believe that too, because it was just such a different time, and they celebrated things. Yeah, anyways, it's just giving me past life energy. Okay, so someone asked, where was that question that I was going to ask earlier? Okay, let's talk about, good question. Let's talk about the weather machines, if you know what I'm talking about, Ishmael, with what that is. And then someone asked, is California going to be safe from natural disasters? So let's talk about like the weather technology, California, natural disasters.
Right, the weather weaponry, that is real. It all started with HARP, and it developed further into direct weaponry. But, again, the alliances and the Federation are actually monitoring the Earth so that the cabal doesn't pull off anything major, like, sinking half of a state. I guarantee you California is safe. Nothing's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think. It's like when like people say something about Florida also, like maybe sinking or something.
Yeah, that's just part of the fear-based taboo that, they want people to focus on. But again, it's all about where you redirect your focus. So if you choose to redirect your focus on the positive timeline, which is heaven on earth, and, beautiful blessings and miracles, then that's what's going to occur in your life.
I believe that is so true. Where your attention goes, the energy will flow. That's very true. And it's real. Okay.
Yeah.
Guys. Wow, these questions are awesome. Okay, so let's see what other questions we have here that we have not already gone over. Okay, so let's talk about this. We might have gone over this before in a previous live, but I still think it's good to bring up. Will those suffering from mental illness or a diagnosis be healed and able to join the Unity timeline?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, there's going to be a massive miracle taking place worldwide when the solar flash happens. All the people that suffer mentally or physically of any illness will have a miraculous healing. Yes.
Thank God.
And the Bible talks about that. Other holy books talk about that.
They do.
Stuff, yeah.
Does it mention it like because I kept hearing, I don't know if I said this in the last live with you, but I kept hearing thy kingdom come. So like it's not the end times, but what these books are indicating is like the end of like something that is no longer going to carry on, if you will.
The end of darkness and the beginning of light, yeah.
You say it very eloquently. Yes, the end of darkness, the beginning of light. I love that. And it's true. And honestly, I would say that people that have like I don't know how to say it, like mental diagnosis of some sort, those people tend to be also like multidimensional in a way. I don't know how to describe it, but like, for example, people who are schizophrenic, like they might have the potential to be healed in terms of the physical means, but aren't those people technically already gifted because they are able to tap into other versions of themselves, or is there more than one soul within them? It's very tricky waters to tread over here. I feel like I've heard you talk about this before, though.
That could be the case, that they are tapping into different versions of themselves in parallel Earths, and that's why they're considered crazy to the conventional way of doing science. But as far as like having other spirits in them, that could also be a possibility. So that one is one of those things where it's like it could be either or. You know, there's not too much study that goes into people with schizophrenia, but we do know that they do have split personalities, and we do know that they're bipolar. They go from one extreme to the next, and so yeah, you know, I don't really want to say anything negative because I really don't know. But what I do know is that they could be gifted. You know, they could be gifted, and unfortunately, they're just society's not recognizing their gifts, so they're making life hard for them, which sucks.
Yeah. And I love that you said that, because it's true. Like, there are other ways to support people. Perfect word to say, gifts. People with those kind of gifts. You know, you look at like Kanye, you know, who is bipolar apparently. I've had friends who are bipolar who have gone off their medication for a little bit, and it's
Those
like,
people are very intelligent, by the way, and so are the people that have Asperger's or high functioning autism.
yeah.
Yeah.
I asked a question about that as well. Like, what will happen to people who have autism? But essentially, it's like everyone's gonna get an upgrade in some point in time. But what if the people who aren't really aware of these kind of things, maybe who are autistic, or, you know, who have some form of, you know, some form of something, if you will, if they're not aware of this ascending timeline, but they're just who they are, they're going to be part of that ascending timeline, right?
Right.
And,
Well, most of those people are going into the fourth dimensional Earth, which is still going to be good. That fourth dimensional Earth is going to be like a Star Trek society.
I love that. I actually haven't seen that, but I've seen small clips of it. Okay, so how are you doing? How are you feeling with the questions? And there's quite a few, but I can maybe ask one or two more. How are you feeling?
We could ask a few more. It's fine. Yeah, I'm not in any hurry tonight. I think most of my laundry is done for the week, I hope.
Okay, so let's see. I love this question. Do chemtrails have an effect on ascension?
Well, they try to affect the activation of our ascension, yes, or our dormant DNA. But just like everything else, you know, the poisoning of the food, the nanotech that they're shooting people up with through the, you know, the medicine, it's not taking effect anymore. You know, it's too late. You know, we're already in the fourth dimension. We're already using more than 2 strands of DNA. So I wouldn't worry about it. I wouldn't worry about the chemtrails and all the nanotech and the black goo and all that stuff. You know, that's just, it's not going to affect us.
Yeah, I'm seeing like little like gnats. You know those annoying flies? That's like at this point they're becoming gnats.
They're not really insects. Those are actually,
Really?
yeah, they're actually nanotechs. They're artificially, they're like drones. They're being remote control. They're being guided and directed.
The
And they're
gnats?
so little. They look real. They look like real gnats, but they're not.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
they have those out there already.
Do you think that for all the flies too, like fruit flies and stuff?
They have everything. They have some that look like bees, that look like wasps, that look like a regular fly. I mean, you know, DARPA perfected the microscopic version of AI back in 2015. That's when they, you know, were able to develop these types of microscopic technologies. Yeah, that look so real, but they're microscopic AI.
I mean, if you can create a spaceship that can go through the atmosphere, you can definitely create some nanotechnology like that. I wouldn't put it past me that they're flying around. I mean, it's like everything is in the open. Like, we're so exposed no matter what time of day it is, but it's like we can't really get caught up with that. But it's kind of freaking when you think about the uses that these systems, these people are doing. It's like, what is your goal here? Like, I don't get it. Like, a fly is a fly. So anyways, okay, so let's see here. I want to read the comments here. So someone asked about the COVID-19 vaccine, and then Kata V Ultimatum asked or said, Illuminati soul contract is real. Their souls, Mark Webber, their souls actually got to Saturn and are owed by Lucifer. There's been whistleblowers from entertainment industry who say that they saw this happen. Is it the same with COVID-19 vaccine? Or is these two separate things? Illuminati.
They're all one and the same.
One and the same. Yeah, everything is connecting. So Illuminati, all these people, the cabal, they're all part of that same kind of thread, if you will.
Yes, yeah. They're all working for the beast, which is AI.
Weird, don't you think, Ishmael? Like, how is it technology that is leading this? It's kind of funny, honestly.
Well, it's developing from behind the scenes, and it's just creeping up. They're actually,
Really?
they already have what we would consider Skynet, which is the Borg hive mind, already in place. Or do they just need to activate through 5G all the nanotech that they've injected in people? It takes 2 to 3 years for that nanotech to fully take over somebody's mind. So, yeah, that shift better happen.
Yeah, and someone else earlier asked about that too, and someone just asked now, can we blow up the cell phone trees? Like, what's going to happen to those cell phone towers?
Oh, they're all going to be disintegrated. When the solar flash happens, it's going to destroy the old Earth, and the portals will be opening, by the way. So we're going to be entering the portals with simultaneously, and then all of a sudden we're going to be in the new Earth as the old Earth becomes, destroyed.
So, like, I am a full believer that when you just think about something too much from a place of fear, especially, or some type of low vibe, it like can really manifest. Like, I really do believe this, especially now. Like, the more you kind of ascend, the more it like happens instantaneously. But Ishmael, I've heard some stuff about 5G, like what you just mentioned, connected to our phones. Most of us have iPhones and continue to upgrade those phones, and those phones, the newer upgrades, like link to 5G. Like,
absolutely.
How do you? And I realize this too. Like, it's not even just about 5G. Like, there's certain things that we use on a daily basis. Like, for example, our microwave, and you think about all these like electromagnetic emitters that are like leaving these texts and like almost can affect us. Do you have any, like, I guess, guidance around that? I mean, you don't want to be too fearful about what you're using, but it's kind of like, well, I know what I know. It goes back to that point of when you know too much, like, how do you proceed?
Well, 5G and ELF waves and radio frequency waves and microwaves only affect you when you're vibrating at a low frequency. The moment you begin to vibrate at a high frequency beyond 450 hertz, they have no effect on you.
Love that. It's like what Kata said here was when the solar flash hits, it's best to be in a place you can lie down. There will be a bright light, so it's best to be at home. And then I think you also said, was made for this, or we were made for this, which I really like that comment. Okay, so let's see what other questions we have here. Okay. If they are a regressive negative group, assuming what we were talking about earlier, why are they being led to make their own version of Earth? Is it because of free will? Is it what they choose to be involved in, so it is respected to create a negative timeline or world?
Yes, because we live in a free will universe. And that's the only reason why Prime Creator Source even allowed this ancient, alien, invasive AI to even, wreck the cosmos for billions of years. But he knew that, he had a plan to put an end to that. And that's what we're doing here. So yes, everything happens because of that. Prime Creator Source could have just, with the snap of its fingers, could have just eliminated all darkness from the beginning of time, but then that wouldn't give us the opportunity for growth. It is through duality and through contrast that we grow and evolve and become stronger. So everything happens for a reason, people.
I love that you said that, because I think it's so easy to forget. Like, people think, well, why is suffering happening if there is a creator or if there is a divine? And it's like, thing is like we have to experience some type of something. When you're in the darkness, that's when you notice the light eventually, right? So it's kind of like you have to experience almost, I don't want to say it like this, but pain in a way, or some type of contrast to what is considered your high up high, if you will. Because you're right, like at the snap of a finger, none of this can exist. The snap of a finger, literally, we could be gone tomorrow. So it's really that powerful. So it's kind of like there is a purpose, obviously, but it's like there's maybe the person who asked it, I don't even want to put words in their mouth. I think for me, I will say it's like kind of like not unsettling because we want to give love to the dark, Ishmael, but it's like will that sort of exist still in, there's how will souls who choose to return to Earth maybe in later years, I don't know what it's going to look like, so I really can't say, but how will they continue to evolve if there is no contrast to some extent?
Well, the contrast only exists when we're part of the dissension or the division from the one to the many. When we begin to reverse that, which is now taking place as we ascend, everything collapses back to the one, and also the contrast doesn't exist anymore. So it's part of a game. It's part of the, I guess, it's part of the expansion of God. When God expands, there's opposition. When the expansion comes back to the one, there is no opposition. It's only unity and oneness.
I love that. Very wonderful answer. Okay, I'm trying to keep up with everyone's comments. Oh, there's some good comments in here. Okay, and good questions so far. So let's see. There was a question that I had. Gosh, I hope I did not lose it. Kind of skipping around. Here. Will people who have been vaccinated be healed?
It all depends on their soul contract. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Some. I believe that those that agreed to ascend but still take the jab in order to, keep their jobs and continue providing for their family, they're innocent. They were coerced. They had no choice. They were just cornered. They were bullied. Pretty much. They're going to be the medicine will be neutralized when the ascension takes place, and they're going to be okay. But those that are like pushing the medicine, those that are for it, that are still wearing their mask, unfortunately for them, they're not going to make the ascension because it's all choice anyway. So
I like that you said, and it baffles me every time you said neutral. It's like going to be neutralized. And right as you said that, I was thinking about someone that I know through the energy world who told me that the reason why they chose to get it was because they were told in the Akashic that it's neutral. Everyone has their opinion. I'm not going to share mine, but it's interesting that you said that right as I was thinking about that person. So in essence, the people who had or directed an energy towards just trusting, I guess, and allowing it to unfold naturally, I could not do that, which is why I did not receive it. But other people who had the ability to take that into their bodies, because of their intention, that's essentially what's going to shift. Okay. Love it. Yeah, but I like that you said it depends on everyone's contract, because it's true. We can't really say. Okay, so there was a question earlier about astrology. Someone asked if astrology is, I think, man-made, or if it's part of, it's kind of like how religion was taught to most of us at a young age. Was astrology is it something that we should kind of connect in a way? Obviously it has an impact, but what is your opinion on astrology and its connection with our creation and what we should know about it?
Well, according to the esoteric hermetic wisdom, as above, so below. So most definitely what happens with stars and planets as they, revolve around other spheres and stuff, revolutions around revolutions, that does have an effect on what happens here in our world. So your natal chart is accurate. Everything is based on a energetic signature. So the moment you were born, there was some sort of alignment that took place, and that's your birthright. That's your DNA, that it exists everywhere in all the dimensions. So astrology is very real. It's actually an ancient spiritual science that is now, coming back again due to the fact that we're bringing back the mystics, the mysteries. We're resurrecting the ancient mystery school teachings. So.
And it's cool because I think I recall you saying in a previous live with someone else, I forget who, but you mentioned about the uprising of like these sort of mystery schools that are going to be popping up, which kind of goes with what you said at the beginning of the live about our education system changing as well. Yeah. So Someone had a question earlier about Syrians, and there's a lot of extraterrestrial races, so it's kind of hard to like get really too detailed. What would you say about that particular, I guess, extraterrestrial race? We know that there's Pleiadians, there's so many I can't even like speak out on. Do they all kind of work together? Do each of them have a different role, a different sector to kind of focus on with the overall humanity ascension?
All of the above. Yeah. So in a way, they all have their particular role, but yet they're all working in unison for the restoration of the entire galaxy. So in our galaxy, the Syrian High Council is at the highest level. I mean, they're like what we call 11 and 12 dimensional rishis. They're overseers. Yeah, they're kind of like where Christ came from. Christ was an incarnated Syrian, by the way. And then the Pleiadians are in charge of our sector, so we're part of that cluster of family, right? So they kind of help patrol and safeguard the 52 solar systems that are part of that cluster. But yeah, every positive extraterrestrial group has their own purpose, but yet they're all working together for the benefit of not only humanity here, but for the entire galactic community.
So I don't want to like think too far in advance for any of our own lives, but do you think it's possible that some of us would be living another life after this incarnation on Earth on another planet, like as a Syrian or as a Pleiadian?
We already are. There's a version of you that exists in different levels of reality. Yeah.
So do you think like let's say for example in 70 or 80 years I die, okay? I don't know what's going to happen at that time on the planet, if I will be able to still be human, but if the case that I'm not, I don't know what's going to happen. Let's just say it's a scenario. It's just
well, if you make the positive timeline, your body's not going to die. You're actually going to transfigure into a fifth dimensional body, which is still going to look like you, but very connected and very multidimensional. Yeah.
Okay. I love that.
Yeah. So no one here is going to taste death. I guarantee you that. The starseeds didn't come here to this earth to die. The starseeds came to this earth to save the earth and transform into the Orifim original race that we were meant to be. Immortals. Yeah.
You put that too, because that word was coming up earlier for me. That's very humbling. We allow and unfold, we let life unfold, but it's very humbling to know, like what we have potential for us, in this creation. So, okay, so let's see another question. This is like really fun. It's like school, but better, This is how school should have been. So, so someone asked about remembering our past lives. Will we remember our past lives?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're going to have access to not only our past lives, but if you are in the fifth dimensional reality, you're going to have access to all your versions, every aspect of yourself, including access to infinite intelligence, which is your mind is going to merge with the mind of the all.
Now, this leads me to my next question because of the consciousness, the collective consciousness that we're already in. Personally, and I wonder if anyone else has had this experience, definitely let me know in the comments, or let us know rather. I will think about something, Ishmael, and then someone I know or a stranger, for example, on social media will post those exact words that I was thinking about. Like it could be a topic for a video I wanted to make, or it could be literally an idea that I had to do for my personal life. And then I go online and I see that exact thing being done by someone else. So this collective consciousness, in a way, how can we, this is my question, how can we encourage like uniqueness and individualism that is allowed to us in this life, right? For us to be unique and learn about ourselves when we're getting to kind of a stage of creation where the collective consciousness is even more potent. Ideas are kind of simultaneously shared with someone who lives states away. So how can we maintain our individualism when we're kind of like being ushered into like a stronger sense of collective consciousness, if you will?
We shouldn't resist it. We're moving up in dimensions. Eventually, we're going to become part of a collective mind hive, a social memory complex. And so the more you try to see yourself as separate from the whole, the more you're fighting your ascension. because ascension is about integrating. It's about bringing us back to oneness. So, you're still going to retain an individualized awareness, but yet you're going to be one with everything. Similar to the trillions of cells in your body, every single cell has its own individual unit of consciousness, but at the same time, each cell is working in harmony with all the other trillions of cells to make your body work. So that's exactly how it all works. Yeah.
Love that. Embrace your uniqueness, but don't resist.
Don't resist. Yeah.
Well, essentially, yes, I love that. It's a very powerful reminder. Okay, there was a question earlier in the comments that I saw that caught my eye. I am trying not to answer questions, though, that are being posted in the comments. And thank you to those who are responding to, because it does help, because I don't see them. Let's see. Okay, great question from Skyworld1111. Are gods and goddesses of global mythology, pantheon, higher beings / extraterrestrial? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. The gods of mythology are the angels of this Bible, as well as the benevolent guardian extraterrestrials that we are finding about today. Yeah. They're all one and the same.
I love that. This is kind of a question that isn't really that important for us in the present moment, if I'm going to be honest. But I'm sure that there might be some people that are curious, because this just came to my mind as well. Is it possible, Ismael, if one is aware of who they were in a past life, it has some influence with what they're doing in this life now. But let's say someone is aware of who they were in a past life. Is it possible if there's someone else across the world who could also say that they were that person? Like if someone says, I was the right hand to this, I don't know, like Thoth. I was Thoth, for example, or Horus, for example. But it's like someone else across the world says that that's who they are. What are your thoughts around that? It's not important, but...
Well, yeah, in the third dimension, we're broken off fragments of the fifth dimensional entities that passed as gods of mythology. So like Osiris, Thoth, Horus, those are, you could say that there's many people that identify with that as a past life, but that's just them in the fifth dimension. In the third dimension, there's many aspects of that. So there's different incarnations of that same God that has returned and incarnated in many people. So yeah, many people could say that because it's true. These are the fragments of that one entity who decided to incarnate in many, many souls, has many souls.
I have to sit with that.
I know it's hard to understand, but it's kind of like, like as we move up in dimensions, we become, the fragments become one with the whole again. So as the gods represent the descending aspect of spirit into matter. So the gods that were portrayed in our mythologies actually left the progeny behind, and then through that progeny, through that lineage, many of us were incarnated. So of course a lot of us are going to be associated with one of the gods of mythology, one or more sometimes.
More, yeah, exactly, one or more too. So yeah. That's definitely something to sit with personally for me, and what I have been learning about my own past. It's not really necessary for us to know it's fun to know this information because it is going to be coming up. If it's coming up in your reality, then it is necessary, but not to live in those times of who you were, because obviously you're living in this life now. But it's very interesting. I just was curious about that because there is 8 billion people on the planet right now, but then you think about how many souls, like people, have lived throughout history, and then like with knowing about reincarnation, how many times have we gone back? You know what I mean? So now with mythology and what we know about history, is it safe to say that a lot of what we read about is not true? Like, for example, we know or may see Anubis, who is from ancient Egypt, as being more of a male figure, but could it be possible that, for example, he is actually a woman, and that the story was kind of changed? That mythology of Anubis was a woman who, do you get what I'm saying? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like it's something changed.
I believe that's also the case. Many women are also identifying with male deities of mythology, not just men. Yeah.
I mean, personally, I've been told I was a man in ancient Egypt, which is really interesting to think about. I think we've all switched back and forth, and it kind of goes to show the energy that we both have. I mean, if our human bodies both have those hormones, estrogen and testosterone, then obviously the energy is there too. We both carry both. But as far as like gender in this life, it's very interesting how like different lives we kind of switch. So that was just a random question. But
And also to know is that the gods of mythology are still existing within us. The star seeds are, you know, the reemergence of the gods of mythology.
yeah, I believe that. Yeah, I definitely believe that. I was at the gym, like I don't know if I ever shared this with you, but or with anyone around alive before. I probably have. But yeah, I was at the gym like 2020, it was like in February, and I had been passing by someone, older gentleman who, you know, I don't know the person. I just passed by them, and like I always feel this energy. As soon as I passed by that person, it would be scattered throughout the months because the gym was closed, obviously, because of the year it was. But I would see two dogs, one on my right, one on my left, through my third eye, one black, one gray. And every time I would pass by this person, these two dogs would constantly growl. And I'm just freaking out. Anyways, so my guides redirected me to approach that person, and I did. And as soon as I approached them, I was leaving the gym, and my guides pulled me back, and I was like, "What the heck?" And I went up to that person, and as soon as I looked at them in the eyes, I said, "Osiris, is that you?" And the guy, older guy, right? He looked at me and he was like, "How did you know?" And I was like, "Do I know you?" And it was the craziest thing. And he showed me his Instagram and was like telling me like that's who he thinks he was in a past life. So yeah, interesting. The two dogs, my friends put the symbols together. It's like we will be given, and this goes with the question someone else asked earlier. A couple people asked this about like signs about our past lives, stuff connected to who we are in our creation. It's going to be like tiered to you and your experience. Like what is coming through, I guess, as these gifts start to develop, like what are you seeing in your third eye? What are you picking up? Discerning, as you always say, so that you're in a grounded state, but like to those things basically is being advised. I'm feeling, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, let me see.
So I have time for maybe just one more question.
Perfect. And that would be a good stopping point too. Thank you so much for your time,
Sure.
your knowledge, and beautiful.
Well, it's not my knowledge. It's accessible to anyone who taps into infinite intelligence.
To be
I don't.
educated to us and brought to us through you, which we are grateful for. But yes, this is universal knowledge.
It is, yeah. It doesn't just belong to me. It belongs to everyone.
Amen. Okay, so let's see here. Trying to find a question. Okay, I think that this is a good final question to ask, and then we'll close it out. When is the next big event? Someone asked as well about the specific date. How long do we have to get, for lack of a better word, our shit in order?
I would start now, because it could happen any day now. Whether it's the flash, whether it's the great revealing, you know, exposing the cabal. So I would start getting your stuff together now. You know, live your life accordingly, you know, to the golden rule. You know, be in service to others, humble yourself, be kind. And just remember that every person that you interact with on a daily basis, you have an impact on, whether for good or bad. So just remember that.
Okay, I love that. Thank you so much, Ismael. Everyone, thanks for, this is the author, Ismael Perez, of Our Cosmic Origin. He is the cosmic ambassador in helping to bring about the 144K, as well as unconditional love and light, the truth into this planet. So definitely follow him if you're connected with me personally and not already following him. His book is on Amazon. Yes, I love, Kata says, don't forget to mention Our Cosmic Origin. Yes, of course, you can purchase his book on Amazon, and go click the link in his bio. So thank you so much, Ismael. You were just such a blessing, wonderful teacher, and we just all appreciate and love you. So you are a homie, a brother for life, and we're sending you so much love. Thank you again. Thanks, everyone.
Welcome. Thanks, everyone. Love you all.
Much love. Hello.